This is Fantasy Avenue, hosted by Mikey Andersen, your road to fantasy football victory. What is up, everybody? Mikey Andersen back. Another episode of Fantasy Avenue. Let's go. Little quickie. Got about a week to the NFL season, so I'm like, well, better start getting some podcast episode out. School starts next week, so that's going to be a little interesting. Got football practice. First football game tonight for the team. I'm pretty excited, I'm feeling pretty good. I hurt my back a little bit in practice earlier this week, but I'm finally back to feeling, good enough. I mean, I have to be good enough to go. So we ready. But I figured, I'm running out of time to do some podcasts before school starts. People got about a week until they have to be drafted, so I'm going to need to get some episodes out. So this one's going to drop. This one's going to drop today. It's going to drop right after I'm done, and then I'm going to watch the JV game. And then maybe the next one, tomorrow on Saturday or Sunday. Got a soccer game from somebody I got to go watch. But besides that, I'm free, so might hit another one tomorrow. Today we're talking about running backs. We're talking about kickers. Okay, now I don't want you to overlook. Running backs, big position. Kickers now, state of the end, baby, because kickers deserve some respect. I don't want to come out and say it necessarily, but I believe I'm probably the drippiest kicker in Montana. Some Coach Boucher and others might have a little argument to say, but whatever. Not everyone is gonna support my drip all the time. You have cereal themed shoes. I have arm sleeves and cool eye black. Okay, so you take one, give one type thing. You take what you want. I'll take what I want. But personal opinion is I got some style out there. In the meantime, we're gonna talk about running backs because there's some big moves and we got to get through it. You guys gotta know. So thank you to everyone who's here to listen. Let's hop into it. Running backs is pretty easy at the start, right? We've talked a lot. I've talked about a couple of the running backs already because they're in my top 10. But in my opinion, it's pretty clear up top in terms of the top 4. All right, I have my tiers. Tier 1, Christian McCaffrey alone. The only running back, and really, in my opinion, the only player you should take with the number 1 overall pick. Now, I don't like the number 1 overall pick at all. I think it screws up your draft because basically I saw this video on Instagram kind of explaining it. Like, the number 1 pick is so bad because you have no room for error. Like, if the player you pick doesn't end up being the best player in fantasy football, then you lost value with your pick essentially, right? Whereas if you pick 4th, your player has anywhere from 1 to 4, and so you can actually get reward. But number 1 is just like, please don't mess up. And rarely, Todd Gurley's the last guy I can think of who's even repeated. So usually there's lost value. But all that being said, Chris McCaffrey is the dude you should trust, okay? Because there's a big teardrop right here between surefire running Christian McCaffrey and receivers, right? The surefire things. And then tier 2, which starts with my number 2 running back, Bijan Robinson. There's really not enough there to be fully sure of. So Christian McCaffrey's number 1. In my opinion, it goes Bijan, Breece, Jahmyr Gibbs. Now, I like Jahmyr Gibbs a little bit more than Breece Hall. Breece Hall just scares me. The whole Jets team scares me. I mean, what have they done? Like, Cameron, I'm calling you out, Mr. Jets fan. All you do is talk about how good your roster is, but none of your players have done anything. Garrett Wilson, maybe the most overrated receiver in fantasy. He finished 30th place last year in fantasy points. Aaron Rodgers hasn't taken a snap in 2 years. And Breece Hall, all your players are like, oh, they could have been good if they didn't get injured or blah, 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 blah. But they weren't good, right? Because something happened. So saying, oh, he's going to be the best player in fantasy football a year after playing 5 games, that's just he's essentially a rookie. He's essentially didn't play football last year in the NFL type thing. Hard for me to trust. That's why I have him at 3. Bijan, I think, is going to have a huge season. I like him more than really anyone in terms of upside. With that revamped Falcons offense, I think he's going to be special. And he's just so fun to watch. But Breece is the number 3. And then Jahmyr Gibbs is coming into the 4. I'm really high on Jahmyr Gibbs as well. Honestly, if I'm drafting him, I'm drafting him over Breece. Due to touchdown touches is what I like to, not that kind of touching. No. Touching the football, okay? I know what kind of ball you're thinking of. Not that one. Different one. The football, right? Touchdown touches of the football, he's going to have a lot more opportunities. David Montgomery, I can't remember the number. He scored a ridiculous amount of short yardage touchdowns last year. And that's not a thing in fantasy that you can really depend on year after year. It's a touchdown regression. So knowing that there's a lot of touchdowns that could have gone Jahmyr Gibbs' way if he just ran a couple more yards or was in on the play or whatever, there's like a reason to think that he's going to continue to step into the number one role in that offense, but specifically score the touchdowns that he didn't score last year, but still will be available. I like him. He's got some style. I like his whole persona. And so that's my thought. The top four are really there, pretty set. It's going to go Christian McCaffrey. It's going to go the next three young guys. You're going to try to pick and choose. And then we get into tier 3, okay? I've got Saquon Barkley, Jonathan Taylor. Then it gets a little shaky. I have Kyren Williams, James Cook, and Travis Etienne. Then Derrick Henry, then Isaiah Pacheco. That's tier 3, okay? Saquon, I think, stands ahead as someone who has consistently put up fantasy numbers throughout his career and has not necessarily shown signs of slowing down. Last year, he had one of his best years since his rookie season. So he has to be there, in my opinion. Then Jonathan Taylor, coming off injury, man, I drafted him last year in like the 6th round. I was like, oh, I got a steal because he was hurt. And then he played like 3 games, and I was like, yeah, I could have drafted freaking Puka Nacua or anyone. I could have drafted anybody. Could have drafted a better quarterback, could have done something. Didn't do any of that. So that kind of scares me, but he's still showing he has legit production. Then we have Kyren, Cook, and Etienne. And honestly, out of the 3, I lean towards James Cook purely because of the weapons in that offense. The Bills' offense is kind of destroyed. They really have no good weapons anymore on the outside, which is really what I'm going to... Next episode, receivers and tight ends, I'm going to be talking about Dalton Kincaid and Trey McBride. You know who you are. Yes, I'm talking about Trey McBride too, yes. But anyway, the running backs, James Cook is going to have a lot of carries, a lot of catches out of the backfield, something he already does really well. He's going to have more. I'm really high on him. He's gotten better every single year of his NFL career. I remember when he got drafted, everyone was like, talking about, because that was when Dalvin Cook was still really good. They were like, James Cook, what? Like, and he didn't have a good rookie year. I don't remember. I don't think so. Everyone's like, what? This younger brother type thing. Boo. But he's legit, bruh. He's legit. So I like him. And then the Kyren Williams, that's the only thing that's scary because Kyren Williams had a better year last year, and I believe he could have as good of a year as he did last year again. But he came out of nowhere. So that's a little. He's kind of the Puka Nacua situation. Honestly, it's hard to trust. Then Travis Etienne, same thing, right? 3 guys. That's really why I like James Cook better than any of these dudes, and I make my rankings kind of based on your strategies, and then I like lay out my strategy. My ranking that I say on this podcast and what I go into a draft is a little bit different because I know I make up my opinion, right? I give you guys the layout, and then I make my own opinion. Travis Etienne is really scary. I had him in a league last year. Yeah, by the way, come on now. I heard a little bit of talk about how I should be good or I'm probably not even good even though I have a podcast, blah, blah, blah. Last year I got second place, and I was in 5 leagues, okay? A little much, you could say, but it was fun. Got second place in 2 of them, won 3 of them. So when you're in the chipper in every single league you're in, and you take home 3 trophies, we can get nitpicky, but that should tell you I at least know how to play a little bit of fantasy football, all right? Even if I didn't have a podcast, I'd still know how to play fantasy football. So I want you to take what I'm saying, and I want you to make your own opinions, but trust what I'm saying a little bit, right? Etienne had a huge... I always say Etienne. It's Etienne... What is that? No, I always say Etienne. Which is just not how you spell his name at all. All the disrespect to Etienne in the past has not been meant. It's Etienne. Yeah. It's Etienne. Whatever his name is. Travis. I'm going to call him Travis. I'm done. Travis. My dad's name is Travis, so I should at least know how to say that name. Travis, great start to the year last year. Then he just took a huge fall off. Only scored above 15, I want to say. It was some like mid-number once in the last like 8 weeks of the season. It was some crazy thing like that. So that's a little scary, but I think he's still going to have a huge target share in that offense as well. Get a lot of runs. He's a consistent guy. And then you finish off with Derrick Henry and Isaiah Pacheco. Pacheco is just a guy that's never really going to be higher than maybe the 10th running back. He'll always be good, but he just doesn't have enough of that offense. He doesn't have enough of a receiving threat. He's exciting to watch. I mean, my God, I've never seen a man with a more inefficient form of running than that guy. That's crazy. Like, don't they talk about no wasted movement when you like teach sprinters? That dude, it's like he takes his foot and drives it into the ground. It's like he's like I don't even know how to explain it if you've never seen him run. It's like his job is like professional dirt smudger. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna call Oben. No. Decline. It's like it's like he has massive boots on, and his job is just to walk around squishing dirt into tight, compact circles, but then run while doing it. So you can imagine how that would look. That's how he runs. Very strange. I don't know if I like that anymore. I don't know, but we'll see. Also, hey, a little sidetrack. Love the short sidetracks, right? I came in today with a little bit of an idea of what I was gonna say. I like to kind of make it as if it's a live radio show type podcast thing, but I have a little bit more idea of what I'm saying now, and I think I'm a little proud of that. I'm not just spitballing the information. I have some information in front of me with legit points about, okay, target share, okay, 60 catches last year, okay, that I'm actually going to talk about. So, little point out. And right there, too, is Derrick Henry. I took him in not a dynasty league, just a league I drafted a couple days ago, and everyone's like, ugh, but that dude's going to be dangerous. He had a good year last year. He scored like 230 fantasy points, which is legit. And a lot of people thought he had a bad year. I thought he had a bad year, and then I was like, well, he carried the ball 200 plus times. Like, he had a good year. I don't know what the idea was there. Now he's going to a Ravens offense that's more dangerous with a read option type combo with the quarterback where either of them could keep the ball. That's dangerous. Like, yes, he's old, but he had a fine year last year. I think if he repeats the year last year, he was like the 8th ranked running back last year, and everyone's like, oh, this guy sucks. Like, I think anything that he loses in age this year, he's going to make up for with that new offense. So I'm taking a chance, and I'm saying, screw it, Derrick Henry, go long type thing, but not actually go long because I don't know. That'd be interesting to look at, actually. What's the longest receiving touchdown he's ever had? It's like air distance-wise. It's got to be like 10 yards of air distance, right? I've never seen him run a route downfield. He just does those little, yeah. I've never seen him like run a wheel route or anything. Anyway, there's tier 3. I like tier 3. That's the kind of running back. That's the draft strategy where I really like taking a high receiver. I really like being anywhere from like the 4 to 8 range, taking a high receiver like Tyreek, Jamar Chase, Amon-Ra, and then circling it back round 2 in a 10 or 12 man league, and you'll find one of those dudes fall right to you. Then turn around again and try to maybe get one more. I love receiver running back this year in terms of a draft strategy. So like if in one league specifically, I grabbed Amon-Ra first round, came back around, got Kyren Williams, came back around again, and James Cook was falling, and I picked up James Cook. That's a lethal trio, right, of 2 strong running backs and a good and a superstar receiver. I liked it. Tier 4. Now these are some older dudes, right? This is kind of just a combination of like guys moving to new teams, don't really know what's happening. Some sleepers. I have some sleepers at the end. Didn't do that for quarterbacks because it's kind of hard, but I like my sleepers. Got to get you the sleepers, and some rookies. Started right away with Rachaad White of the Buccaneers. He is a borderline tier 3 dude. He was so consistent last year. He's not that old. He's only in like year 5. He's legit. He's just carries the rock straight downhill all the time. He's definitely got to watch. I like him a lot. Next guy, Josh Jacobs, moving to the Packers. Same thing, a little older, but just carries the ball a ton in a more dangerous offense. Not sorry to the Raiders, but your offense is not one teensy little bit dangerous, bro. Your offense is dog, okay? And not a good dog. Bad dog. Your offense is like a little poodle mutt thing that eats the pillows off the couch. Bad dog, right? You don't got the dog in you. Oh! Yeah, that's what happens every time you carry the ball. I'd about drop my mic. That's every time. That's what happens every time the Raiders try to carry the ball. They just drop it. Anyway, perfectly on cue with just the ineptness of the Raiders. I really hope the Broncos beat them this year because I took a lot of smack for a guy whose team can never beat them. Anyway, now he's going to the Packers, the little more dangerous of an offense. I like it, dude. I really like it. I got some Packer friends, and they're obnoxious, but, you got a good running back here. About 15 minutes in the episode, I want to take a quick shout-out to all the elder listeners, specifically Mr. Miller. Thank you for making it this far and not deciding you needed a nap in the middle of my podcast. I know that with age comes fatigue, but you've made it this far, and I am proud to call you a listener of my podcast. So thank you. Next running back, hop right into it with some energy. I had to call you out. We talked about it. I had to call you out. Seahawks running back, Mr. K9 Walker. This dude's a dog. He's gonna have a good season. All my Instagram video, for some reason, Instagram thinks I like the Seahawks. So many hype videos of him, dude. He can carry the ball, and I think he's gonna have a good year. There's just something about how his carries ramped up at the end of the year. First games of the season, he was getting 8 carries, 10 carries, 11 carries. By the end of the year, he was getting 21 carries a game. That's exciting. If he keeps that up for a whole season, where could he fall, especially for a talented back? So I like him. Next 4 are a little shaky for me. Devin Achain. I've talked about his name. I wish it was A-Chain. It's not. Little less cool. It's like having the last name Anderson instead of I don't know, something else that's cooler than Anderson. I can't think of anything. Anderson's pretty cool. I'm not even gonna lie. But Achain, it's just a little scary. He's in the same situation of he's in a mixed backfield with Mostert. Don't know how much he's going to get the ball. Last year he had some crazy games. Then he had some 5-point games. Just a little scary, but he's a flyer guy you can take. Mixon and Kamara follow him. I like Mixon a little more, but Kamara had a good last year. I mean, these guys are very similar in my opinion to Derrick Henry, but they're just not necessarily going into as good of a situation. Mixon is going into kind of a worse situation with a very crowded offense. I just don't know how much they're going to run the ball on the Texans. And the Kamara hasn't had any change. Still working with Derek Carr. He'll score points. But that's kind of why these older dudes who are still productive are a little lower down the list, because I just don't think their ceiling is as high. And then finally, David Montgomery, same thing. First kind of guy that's maybe the 1B of a backfield, 1A, 1B type thing. It's like the dude who's he's got it all, movie star looks, the height, the money, right? And all the girls love him, and so the local girls are loving him, and then he gets married, and then you are sitting at the bar, right? And the girls come up to you and start talking to you, and you look on the news, and you're like, oh, that's why they're talking to me, because their favorite celebrity just got married. It's that type of thing, I don't know if that actually happens. I've actually never been to a bar. Contrary to popular belief, as a kid, I don't want to go sit in a smoky, dark room with a bunch of old people. That does not sound like a fun way to hang out with my friends, because none of my friends are there either. But anyway, if that was a situation where that happened to you, you are the 1B, right? David Montgomery is the 1B, okay, of that Lions offense, and that's why, if you're getting to the end of your draft, the hunk has already been married, so to say. You're going to go for David Montgomery, which is fine. He's still going to get some touches. My last guy there is this is the old section. Excuse me, the last section is the old section. Rough. We have Jones, Swift, Mostert, Eckler. Any of those names ring a bell? Ooh, Packers legend Aaron Jones goes to a new team. Will he be okay with the Vikings? Oh, maybe. Oh, no. J.J. McCarthy's hurt. Yeah, I don't know if I love him. I think he's going to get some touches, but he does not deserve a place above anyone that I've said already. Then we go to Swift. Now, Swift is not even that old. I just have him with the old heads because I don't know how he's going to do. Had a pretty off year last year. I drafted him in fantasy. Same league as the Jonathan Taylor one. Still made it to the finals there. Then my team kind of blew up because, I don't know. I had a rough draft, and I still somehow made it through the season. But that scared me a little bit last year, and I don't know. Another crowded offense. But in terms of Mixon had good weeks last year, Swift kind of screwed me. So we'll see. Then we get to Mostert and Eckler, 2 more old 1B guys. Brian Robinson's also on the Commanders there with Eckler, and I would honestly draft him in front of him. He's just the guy that I didn't mention. This section does not necessarily follow David Montgomery. It is just guys that you'll see later in the rankings of the draft that you're going to have to take a chance on because, old running backs are scary, honestly. So you just want to know when you're drafting him that you'll take a chance on him. But that's kind of the list, right? Mostert's another 1B type of situation. I'm really not as high on Mostert. If I suggest to you guys, if you're looking on cheat sheets, which everyone does when they're drafting, right? Just have the list of all the players kind of ranked generally in front of you. Don't draft Mostert because he's not going to fall to you low enough. And there's just no way he has as good a year as he did last year. 18, 17 touchdowns. That's not going to happen again. There's just no way. I think he could maybe score 12 touchdowns. I could still see him having a good year, but he just, from where he's getting drafted top 5. He's getting drafted like Saquon and then him. There's no way. I'll hang up my hat as a podcaster if he has a top 5 running back year again. I'll say it right now. that's a little deep. I don't know if I really want to bet that much, but honestly, I mean, trust my advice because I care that much about that bet. I don't believe it. Whew, let's hit some sleepers. I've got 5 sleepers for you, starting with Zamir White of the Raiders. Yeah, I know I talked a lot of crap about the Raiders. My fault, any Raiders fans out there, which can't be a lot of you, but Bronco fans are facing the same problem. Just a lack of unity, right? A lot of bandwagon fans. It's rough being a Bronco Raider fan when you got the Chiefs in your division because it's really easy for those slacker fans to just take a step left and become a Chiefs fan, and that hurts. So I stand with the Raider fans on that one. Don't like that. As for Zamir White, I think he could be a dog, and I think a lot of people don't know his name because he came in late last year, kind of took the lead late, but honestly, he looked dangerous. Like in that Chargers blowout game, he looked dangerous. So I feel like he's a guy that not a lot of guys know, and that's kind of why he's there in the sleepers. Other sleepers, I already talked about him. Robinson on the Commanders. I like him more, but it's the same kind of thing where it's a little scary. It's more of a 50-50 split. McLaughlin, Bronco running back. Chuba Hubbard, Panther running back. And then I think Jonathan Brooks. I have Jay Brooks written down here. Other Panther running back, the Panther rookie. I would know his name if he wasn't a rookie. All right, give me some credit. I don't watch Big Ten, or he went to Texas, I believe. I didn't watch Texas much last year. I'm an Oregon fan. I watched the last year of the Pac-12, and I watched some MSU games, and then I kind of was like, all right, when's the playoff start type thing. Well, actually, Texas was pretty good last year. Whatever. Anyway, didn't know what his name, but I knew he was a dog. Then he got drafted to a team that already has a kind of muddled backfield, and honestly, a pretty crappy team. Sorry, Holden. Sorry, Morgan. Sorry. I actually know a weird amount of Panther fans. But anyway, he's a dude. They're all down there, right? They're all guys who are kind of splitting backfield, trying to get more reps, but I like him in late rounds. I really like Chuba Hubbard because he can give you like 10, 12 points a game, and he's like going undrafted in a lot of leagues. So that's just a little sneaky. That's honestly my probably best sleeper. Put a little star next to Chuba Hubbard because I really think he could be good, and people just don't draft him. But that's kind of my running backs. I mean, wow, look at that. Let's get into kickers, and then I got to go to the game. Gotta come out and support the JV folks. You know what I'm saying? I was a JV demon. Now the new juniors are JV demons, and we gotta support. I love that. Love that for them. So I'm gonna get out there. Let's do the kickers real quick, and then we'll sign off. Kickers, same strategy as always, right? I've talked about it a lot. You're either gonna draft a kicker that you're gonna keep with all year in maybe the anywhere from like the third to last round, the last 3 rounds. You might start thinking defense kickers. If you're gonna go early, you could do that, or you could just grab a kicker in the very last round, use that third to last round to pick up a dude like Chuba Hubbard. I've always loved that strategy because I've found gems that can give me some flex points, especially with injuries. I honestly think the strategy of picking defensive kickers late, like really late, has allowed me to be pretty good at fantasy, but not all leagues even allow it. And then if you have an opportunity to pick a guy like Justin Tucker, why not go ahead and pick him? So I'm going to give you the overall ranking, and then I'm going to give you the guys to stream for the first couple weeks of the season, and then I'll be out. Overall ranking, pretty easy. Justin Tuck, Brandon Aubrey, 2 of the dudes in the top tier. Brandon Aubrey is a absolute unit. Soccer player turned kicker who's kicking 70-yarders in practice, 66-yarder in a preseason this game, or maybe 67 in a preseason, which obviously is about Justin Tucker's record. Justin Tucker's, one of the best kickers in NFL history. A lot of recency bias. A lot of people think he's the best kicker ever. I'm like, no, he's not. Adam Vinatieri's the best kicker ever. Kickers are based on stats, but they're also based on wins. And, the argument when Tom Brady didn't have as good of stats as everybody but won everything, like kicker is a clutch position, and that's really what matters. Can you make a lot of points? Can you do pretty well? But then can you win games? Adam Vinatieri won multiple Super Bowls. Like, find me another kicker who has multiple Super Bowl game-winning kicks. You're not going to be able to. He's easily the most clutch kicker in NFL history, and he's like top 3 in stats, so it has to be him. Even though Justin Tucker is the most accurate kicker, whatever. I got a lot to say about kickers. My aunt actually went to high school. Well, my dad did too, but my aunt was actually in the same grade, in the same high school as Adam Vinatieri, which just somehow makes me feel like I need to defend him. I don't know. I've never met the dude, but he seems cool. He was on the Colts with Peyton Manning. I like Peyton Manning. Anyway, Justin Tucker is the best kicker in fantasy every single year because he doesn't miss and he scores a lot, so he's always a safe bet. But Brandon Aubrey is right there. After it gets a little shaky, I really look towards good kickers on good offenses, like the Ravens' offense has not always been super good, but Justin Tucker's great. You look at good offenses with good kickers, and that's a pretty safe way to go. I have Harrison Butker, Sanders of the Dolphins, Bass of the Bills, Elliott of the Eagles, Younghoe Koo on the Falcons. Kiami Fairbairn on the revamped Texans. Jason Myers scored a lot of points last year on the Seahawks. Any of those dudes. Definitely Butker. I really like Bass. Myers came off a big year. You just kind of pick and choose. It's up to you. It's up to who. Basically, I just like to feel like, what offense do I think is going to score the most points? And then you look at like points scored last year and you kind of base it off. I have Sanders ranked pretty high, right? The Dolphins offense, but he didn't even do that good last year. He didn't score a lot of points, except he did good 2 years ago. Kickers is hard. That's why it's hard to pick a kicker with the idea in mind that you're going to commit to him all season, because kickers, I mean, they don't control necessarily how many points they score. They don't control the opportunities they get to score points. So you want to base it off the opportunities they get, and that changes year to year. I like the stream. That's why I'm going stream. So the stream guys are guys that you are not going to have to fight for to pick, and that in the first couple of weeks of the season will be good. Kiami Fairbairn, right there, the number one streamer. I really like him. Group, I believe. I don't know. He's a new guy. I want to say the Browns. Oh, God, I don't know. I don't know what team he's on, but he looked pretty good last year. Boswell on the Steelers, every year, consistent. And then I have Bass on there as well. Kind of a reach because he is one of the top kickers in the NFL. It's going to be hard necessarily to get him as a streamer. You might have to pick him second to last round instead of last pick of your draft type thing. But that's that. Those are the kickers. Those are the running backs. Thank you all for listening. I got to go play some football. But we're going to get more episodes out. School starts next week. I got some homecoming 2 weeks after that. We've got some stuff coming up in my life. And I'm excited to talk about it more next episode. So, signing out. Peace out. Thanks for listening.